You've been working hard these last few months. I get it. You maybe even have some extra cash saved up on the side and you think, hey, now's a good time to start investing. But you could buy some hand sanitizer. But do you really need $500 worth of hand sanitizer? Oh, hey, look what I found. Well, what do you know? $500. Hey, do you mind, dude? Cool, I just found $500. No, yeah, okay, there you go. Can you just move up? Yeah, thanks. So, I just found this $500. Okay. I was thinking of investing it. Any chance you can help me out? Well, I mean, yeah, sure, I could do that. Maybe why don't you try and sit over there and you can just watch the rest of the video. Any chance you're saying that just so that this video doesn't get too complicated? Yep. Alrighty, so now that my brother is in his side of the room, let's talk about how you can invest your first $500. In this video, we'll be covering how that applies into the stock market. But personally, if you have some money to play around with and to invest, the first thing you should be investing in is into yourself. Whether it means in starting a new business, a new side hustle, or investing into a new skill that you can learn. Acquiring new skills and having another stream of income will amplify the amount of money you'll have to invest in the future. So it makes sense to invest in yourself first before you look into the stock market. Start tackling how to invest in the stock market as a skill. So there are two ways of doing this. It's either actively or passively. Now, granted, actively involves much more effort in terms of looking at companies and their balance sheets. Passively, however, although you won't be getting the greatest gains, you'll be matching what the stock market is performing. And you wouldn't need to be going through companies' quarterly reports and income sheets, all that stuff. How you can invest passively is by essentially buying into an index, or what's other known as an ETF, an exchange traded fund. And what these are, it's basically a group of companies that are either in the same industry or in the same country. Like, for example, in US, the S&P 500 tracks 500 of the best companies in the United States. Likewise, with the Russell 2000, tracks 2,000 of the best companies in the US. Here in South Africa, we have our own ETF, which is called the Ashburton Top 40. That's just to mention one of the ETFs that we have here. In a future video, I'll definitely be covering the topics of the differences between actively picking stocks and being invested in an index fund, and whether you should be invested in an index fund or not, the differences, the pros and cons, which one is for you. So definitely consider subscribing if you're looking forward to content like that, and let's get on with it. You might be thinking that, gee, $500 in stock market terms is not that much if you consider the price of one share of Amazon is $3,100 as of July 2020. So having $500, you can barely even buy a quarter of that share. But thanks to something called fractional shares, you can invest in companies and own companies that you know and love. I've been doing some research, and $500 can actually get you more than you think. If you have $500, that can get you 15 shares of Uber or 2 shares of Facebook. If you like to have the occasional binge on Netflix and watch the odd movie or two,
I watch ships, no two are the same. Yeah.
You might be interested in investing in companies like Netflix and Disney. Netflix at the moment, for $500 you can get 1 share, and you can grab 4 shares of Disney for $500 as well. If you're a coffee lover like myself and likes the occasional Starbucks, then $500 can also get you 7 shares of Starbucks. On the other hand, if you're really into tech companies like Google and Apple, you can get 1/3 of Google or 1.5 shares of Apple, thanks to fractional shares. Now guys, I know you might be thinking that $500 really isn't a lot in the stock market in the grand scheme of things, but it's not about the amount that you're using, it's about the strategy you're using to invest that amount. So definitely consider subscribing just to look at some of the strategies and tips that I've learned over the past 4 years. Also, another piece of advice is to start following some other great investors well, by no means I'm anywhere near these guys, Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger. They are the grandfathers of the value investing family. And if you want to start expanding your horizons and gaining more knowledge in how to value invest, Uncle Warren Buffett has been investing for the past some 50 some odd years. And every year he posts an annual letter of the best ways to invest. I'm going to leave a link right below this video of Warren Buffett's annual letters for the best ways of investing. I think there's probably about 30 to 40 years worth of letters there. So you're in the stock market and now you just want to know what is the best way to maximize your return. And there's 4 things that we look for when you're buying a company. Our first thing is that you have to understand the business. You have to be familiar with what they do and the brand. There's no point in buying into a company where you don't know what they do and how they do it. At that point, you're just gambling. The second thing we look for in the company is having shared values with management. Now, you might be super conscious about global warming, maybe investing into renewable energy companies and green companies, solar powered companies might be an option for you. If this company stands for something you believe in, it's worth putting your money where your mouth is and investing in that company to have some progress in society. The third thing we look for in a company is something called a competitive moat. Now, what this means is that this business that you're buying into is probably the leader in that industry. If I were to ask you to think of a dark, fizzy drink, chances are you're thinking of Coca-Cola. And the reason is because they have a really strong competitive moat. They have dominated their industry. Unless you're a Pepsi fan. A competitive moat also means there's something intrinsically valuable in that company that no other company can reproduce, whether it's intellectual property or a product that has just redefined and reshaped what the industry even means. Now that you have this great company on your radar, our fourth and final point is for you to get it when it's on sale. It's no use paying an exorbitant amount of money for this company. And when you can get stocks on sale is when something like an event happens. Our recent stock market crash had provided ample opportunities for many investors to get into great companies that they love. The thing with the stock market is that it can still crash whilst the company's fundamentals stay intact. So you can still have great companies that go on sale. It's all a matter of just waiting for that moment to pounce on those great companies. I've heard the question being posed about whether this strategy of value investing would be the same if you had a small versus a large amount of money. And generally, yes, it would be the same. The only difference is that when you have a smaller amount of money to begin with, is that you can be a bit more aggressive with the way you invest. Now, you still do your due diligence in researching these companies, but you can easily replace $500 much quicker than you can $500,000. Am I right? Always be on the lookout for great companies. Just remember that risk comes from not knowing what you're doing. Speaking of strategies, don't forget to drop a comment down below if you'd like to see a step-by-step analysis and live investing session with me sometime in the future. If this sounds appealing to you, just let me know and I'll be happy to make this content. Now that you're armed with this information, you might be still on the fence of, shouldn't I wait just a little bit longer to build up my capital so I have more money to invest in the long run? Just remember, it's not about the amount of money you have, it's about the amount of knowledge you have to start investing. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much. If you liked it, if you found some value in this video, please consider the like button. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, I will be posting up one video each Monday. Consider subscribing. Next week's episode is going to be based on ETFs and indexes, the difference between investing passively and a bit more actively and individually stock picking. Also, in the last Thursday of each month, I'm going to be discussing my top 3 stock picks that I'm going to be investing in. So just some new ideas for you guys and new companies that you might look into for your own investing. So yeah, thank you so much guys, and I'll see you in the next video.